There is no guarantee for success, but there are ways to get closer to it when you do the right things. Who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you do. Finding the right people, the right classes, the right activities, and taking the right tests are all decisions that shape your future. Find out more today on Destination University with Dr. Cynthia Colon. Dr. Colon and her guests will give you the tips you need, whether you're a student, parent, or educator. Now, here is your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon.
You're listening to Destination University, a podcast for college-bound teens and the parents, mentors, and educators who support them. If that is you, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. As an educator for 30 years, I have met some of the most amazing and creative people along my journey. They are teachers, college administrators, high-level assistants. I'm telling you, these people are talented. The problem is most educators treat their talent as a hobby, when in my mind, they could be supplementing their income with a side hustle. That's exactly what I decided to do 20 plus years ago, and today I'm going to share my story, and I'll jump to the punchline. You guys, I literally doubled my salary in one summer 20 plus years ago. Doubled it. Yes. How I wish I knew then what I know now. Now, with that said, if you are in a job that you like or even love, but you know you've got something more in you, but you just don't know how to get started, this episode is for you. If you're a college counselor somewhere thinking about growing your side hustle, this episode is definitely for you. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon, TEDx speaker, college admissions strategist, and author of the book, Be Committed, Get Admitted. Welcome to Destination University. We help public and Catholic school students get private school advice to access top 100 colleges. We do this through our online or live group classes and private counseling. Consider me your happy success expert. And being here today already tells me that you are looking to get ahead, find practical advice, and take action steps. You are growing the community of happy and well-informed families across the nation. All right, so season 9, we're in season 9, can you believe it? We're calling this Full Disclosure Friday. So truth be told, there is no telling what's in store for Fridays, but my plan is to share my own journey of becoming an edupreneur. And today is the first of the FDF series. So here we go. And, leave a comment if you have feedback or topics that you want me to cover, because, by now, I'm an open book. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to turn my video back on. Okay, so you guys, I have some notes here, so I might sort of switch back and forth to look at my notes because I want to tell you this story because it's just crazy that when I look back. Today's story of how Essay Camp was born and how we made $60,000 in just 3 weeks in the summer. Just 3 weeks, okay? So back in 2000, I went from working at in the admission office at Vassar College to becoming the director of college counseling at Marymount High School. Okay. So, and I'm not sharing anything, like everybody, if you've been following me for any amount of time, that's where I worked. So here's the deal. The deal is that like nearly every senior at Marymount was applying to like 3 to 8 really competitive colleges. So Judy and I were tasked with increasing the acceptance letters to top 100 colleges. Like that's what we were put in our places for, and in our roles. Both of us were new to the role of director of college counseling and associate director. Okay, so we were tasked with this mission and job to increase the number of acceptances. All right, so with applying to 3 to 8 really top competitive schools back then, and then by the way, they were sort of applying to about 12 colleges each, maybe as many as 15 back then, which back then would have been a lot. So each college needed 2 to 5 essays for each one. And so it just became overwhelming. Judy and I realized that we were spending most of our days and nights nights during the week, and then days and nights on the weekend, just trying to read and review and edit these essays to get them back to the students. And then they would take forever to get them back to us, and then so on and so forth. So we just realized that the school's success really depended on the amount of guidance that they would receive from us and the focused time that they would put into each application. So if we wanted to increase, so this is what I'm saying, if we knew that if we wanted to help these girls increase their acceptances, therefore increasing the outcomes of Marymount, we knew we needed to find a better way. That's the bottom line. We knew like this was not working, sort of the piecemeal. And I would remember like give feedback to somebody like on a Monday, and God bless her, like she didn't have enough time to like get back to me. So I might get it back from her later that week on like a Friday would be a good thing, but otherwise it would come back to me the next week, and it was like pulling teeth. So I don't like to operate that way. I like to have, a little bit more control over my days and when she was going to return and then stuff. So anyway, back to my story. So our offices, so Marymount used to be a Marymount College and Marymount High School on the same campus, if I remember correctly. So in the administration building was actually where the dorms were once. And so our offices were connected by a bathroom. So we would like sneak in there in the bathroom, which was like a storage shed, or like, where we kept all our papers and applications, and I don't know what we kept in there. But we would like go in there and be like, okay, what do you think about this? Or like, we would just have little meetings almost. I don't know why we would do them in the bathroom, but we would come up with some of these like crazy ideas of what we were going to do or how we're going to do it. And she was just a good thought partner. So it was probably one spring when we had some downtime that we were like, this is not going to work. Like we can't keep doing this kind of thing. So we thought about, what to do. And back then there are more essay camps now, like at different private schools definitely have essay camps in the summer. But back then we might've been like the first or the second, really in the beginning of our people weren't doing it. So we had this idea, and, back then, like more and more colleges were, asking for more supplements, and we're in California. So at the UC application, I don't remember when exactly, but they had gone from 1 essay requirement to 2 essays. And then shortly thereafter, they went to 4 essays. So nowadays, like, I don't like to overwhelm my private clients too early, but the truth is, like, when students are applying to 8 to 10 colleges, which is true now, and many will apply to 15 or to 18, they're going to need to produce somewhere between 8 and 18 essays. Okay, and if they're applying to several top 25 colleges, well, I'm going to say it, like you're looking at something north of 30 or 40 different essays. This is no joke. Like I'm telling you the truth. Obviously, I always tell you the truth. So, where does a senior find the time to write all those essays with thought and meaning? Like they're taking 5 to 7 academic courses. They're committed to their co-curriculars. Maybe they're in performing arts or athletics in the fall. And at Marymount, we had this like really competitive, and I think they still do, volleyball program. So a lot of these girls were like also in volleyball, which is like every day, all day for fall. So it was quite honestly, it was a little bit of a nightmare. So like the free time is just non-existent for a senior. It's just crazy. So you need the time, or students need the time to marinate on an idea, then draft an essay, which is a crappy draft for sure, and then draft it again and again, and then maybe like draft 4, like you start to get like, oh yeah, this is like, okay, I get it. And really the gold, I always say the gold really comes somewhere between draft 4 and draft 6, and sometimes even as much as 8 drafts. Now, the more you write, so that's just one essay, right? So you're thinking, well, how do you get to 18? The more you write, and you use our like teen proof battle tested formula that we learned back then, you get better as with every single essay. So it does get a little bit easier, but you have to give yourself that focus time to get in that groove. And so that's why we did that. Now, when I say that students need to produce, 18 or 48 essays, don't despair. Like if you're doing essay camp, or you're thinking about essay camp, we do a core 4. We do who am I, what am I good at, what's something cool about me, and why this major. So that's 4 core, what we call the core 4 essays. If you can have that, you can probably retool and repurpose. Then my private clients, we end up probably looking at all the other supplements, and then they end up writing probably another, thematically, like another 4 to 6 essays, just depends. And then we repurpose those. So you have kind of sort of a base of somewhere between 4 and 10 core essays that you repurpose. Okay. But again, we teach you how to do that in camp. Okay, I digress. Let's get back to the story. Okay, so Judy and I decided to run with this idea of doing an essay camp, an essay boot camp. And so I want to share with you from the entrepreneurial standpoint of what we did. Like, what are the steps? So in case you're like an educator and you thinking about a side hustle, I'm just going to give you our story and what we did. And this is based on my memory because I haven't had to think about this for a long time. But I love this story so much because neither Judy or I had ever been entrepreneurs. We had never had a business before. You know, Judy went to Stanford and, you know, taught AP. She's Dr. Judy Edwards. You know, it's like, so here are two smart women who had never really monetized what they know really well and what we were doing really well. Okay, so here are the steps we took. I just like outlined them so that I wouldn't forget a step earlier, just before this episode went live. So first of all, we thought of a name. That was the first thing. So our name was Co-ed College Consultants. So the story about that name is for 2 reasons. One, we worked at a girls' school, an all-girls school. So we wanted to make sure that people knew that this camp was open to anyone, so boys and girls. So that's why co-ed. But really how we even came to that, and so it was pretty genius, is that Co for Cologne, my last name, the CO, so Cologne, and then her last name was Edwards, right? Is Edwards. So co-ed, so Cologne Edwards College Consulting. So you can think of it in a number of ways. So anyway, we thought we were pretty genius in coming up with that idea. So Co-ed College Consultants was our corporation. And then we went ahead and did the legal paperwork to incorporate ourselves. So I can't remember how or what we did to do that. I think maybe someone we worked with, maybe her husband, who's a lawyer, gave us a referral. I have no idea, but I think you can go to LegalZoom now and like do the paperwork yourself. We got permission from the school to do this. Now, I can't remember the chicken or the egg, if like we got permission from Marymount first or about the step, I don't know, but we basically, I don't think the schools would let you do this, but we basically sort of asked permission to rent space from the institution. We were not doing this as part of the curriculum for Marymount, or it wasn't going to be free for the Marymount students. It was going to be a paid service, but it was going to be open to anyone in the community, anyone who wanted to come. So we did our due diligence in getting, we had to buy insurance for the company. We had to, like I said, we did the legal paperwork. And so we were asking permission to rent space. So we paid Marymount to rent space in the summer. Okay. So just to be clear, again, there are private schools now that, and maybe public schools too, I don't know, that do essay camps, but it's woven in. And I think that the Marymount eventually like wove it into their, what they offer as a service. So I don't know if they charge extra, but nonetheless, that's what we were doing at the time. Okay. So then we got a graphic artist to create a logo. You guys, this was like 2003. So I still like don't exactly remember how we did all of this or where we found those people that we needed for all these pieces. But we got someone to create a logo for us and to also create a flyer, which was like that oversized postcard. I don't know what size that is, but it's not a 4x6 and it's bigger than that, but it's postcard size and counts for postcards postage. Okay. So whatever that size is. So we gave our boot camp a name, and now today it's known as College Essay Boot Camp. It's really basically the same boot camp we were doing back in 2003. But back then we called it Senior Fast Track. So that's what it was called. So I think College Essay Boot Camp is better because you know what it is, but nonetheless, we called it Senior Fast Track. And I think that's also because back then we offered like a junior jumpstart, which today is now known as Dream College Academy, which the truth be told, I actually like junior jumpstart because you know what that is. Like it makes sense. So I might, who knows, maybe I'll change Dream College Academy back to junior jumpstart. Okay. So then what do we do? Okay, so then we did a mailing to the students at Marymount, at our community. And again, this is something that I probably think that they wouldn't do now, because technically we were a different, we're our own entity, and we were basically just taking the labels and the mailing addresses from the school. So I'm pretty sure that wouldn't fly anymore. But nevertheless, we had those addresses, and then I don't know if we bought, I don't know what we did, but we did a mailing, and we might have put an ad in the paper, or like maybe a church paper. Who knows? Quién sabe? But again, I'm just trying to remember everything that we did so I can just be helpful to you. So let me take a pause and take a little drink. Okay, so let's take a look at my notes. So I don't want to forget. Okay, then, oh my goodness, you guys, we had to get a website, I guess, because I think the same woman who did our graphics and everything, she was like the all encompassing of, she did everything. And there was this like form that she literally did up so that you would go to the website, and then like you'd fill in your little, like, I don't know, it was janky back then, right? Like you filled out the form, and I don't know, you paid money, I think, right there. So we did all of that. Now I use Kajabi as my platform, and everything goes all in one place. So that's what we did. And then like people started signing up. So we sent the mailing out, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 times. Obviously, it was pretty clear to everybody that it was open to, like, if you had a brother or you knew other people, anyone was welcome to sign up. So we started having people sign up. Most of the students were from Marymount. But as time went on, I will never forget these girls from Santa Catalina. It's a boarding school up north. They had found us, and like 3 of them came and took the class, and people from Loyola High School and other, Santa Monica High School, Palisades, like people started coming. It was crazy. So anyway, we had 3 weeks to choose from, and then the cost back then was $9.99 to do camp, and the camp was from 9 to 3 for 5 days. Okay, so basically, eventually, we had about 20 students per camp, and we were in business. I mean, like we were like, okay, let's go. And I remember having meetings with Judy on our off times, right? Like, in the evenings, maybe in May. I don't know. I think we met at her house, which was our like the address for our business back then. And we would make our curriculum. We'd be like, okay, these are the topics we need to cover. And then we would build from like day to day. So we put in like a spreadsheet, which I don't think Google existed, maybe, maybe did. We put in like a spreadsheet, day 1, and and then the times. Back then I've always been a minute to minute gal. So it'd be like, 9 a.m. to like 9:10 a.m. and then 9:10 a.m. to this. We built in breaks, we built in lunch. And then each day built on each other. So we were teachers, because that's what we do. And so we created this curriculum. Now, our first years, 9 to 3, the AM session was for writing, and we did all of our curriculum, and writing was done in class. Okay, so, and it's still, to this day, is still true. There's no homework for SI camp. So we really wanted the class to be like focused time, which is what we promised, and then to leave with X number of essays by the end of the week. So that's how we did it. So in the morning, from like 9 to 1, I guess, or 9 to noon, or 12:30, we would do all the writing. So all the writing lessons were in the morning, and then we'd have lunch break. We'd have a break somewhere in there too. Before that, we'd have a lunch break for like 30 minutes, and then they'd come back. Now we were on the campus, so they could, go and sit anywhere and then come back to write back to class. And then in the PM session from 12:30 to 3, we did things like fill out your UC application portion, like the grades portion, the resume portion, work on your common application, your resume section. We had them type up a resume back then, like a 1-page resume. We had them practice interviewing to get ready for an interview, and they would just partner up. So we did sort of all of those piece components of the application. Now, parents were always like, well, like you can't turn in the application yet. Yeah, no, but we would print out these big sheets of paper, and then they would do them. And so they would have it. And then at the end of the week, they would leave with their folder with all of their stuff. Okay. this is before we use Google now, so everything's in a shared folder now, but it was not that way back then. Okay, so anyway, that's really what we did. We just came up with a curriculum and we, sent postcards, we got signups, and then boom. Now, we each had 8 to 10 students per week that we were working with. That's not true anymore. It's now 4 to 6 students because it's a lot of reading and a lot of writing, because the homework does not come from the students. The homework is us. So I remember all we needed to get this business started, well, we needed to buy insurance, of course, but because we were going to be on renting property, from another property owner, which was Marymount. So we needed, paper, we needed a printer, we needed a classroom, so we rented, and then the students had to bring their laptops. I'm sure there were laptops. Yes, I act like we're so old. No, so they brought laptops to class, and then they would plug in, or I don't know, get access to the printer, and then we would print their essays, literally print their essays. And then we needed these little totes with the folders. And so myself, Judy, and then Mark, we hired Mark, or some years we hired Gail, or whoever we needed to from other schools that would come and be our third counselor, because we had sometimes as many as 30 students in a class. So we would print them, or they had to print their stuff, and then they would put it in their folder. And then we would take our little tote home, and I mean, I'd be up all night reading, and then maybe in the morning reading and giving like feedback. So the totes, we wore our shirts as a Code College consultants, and we all would wear the matching, like it was white one day, it was red one day, it was blue one day, and we would rotate these shirts. And we just had so much fun. Honestly, we had so much fun. And the kids would come in and like they felt great too, because then everybody else was doing the same thing. So anyway, I think I got off my little script here. So here's really the part of the story that I really wanted to get to, which is this. One summer, as I mentioned, we had 3 weeks and we had about 20 signups each. And so that was $60,000. Now I say I doubled my salary because I think I was making $55,000 or $60,000 back then. And in 3 weeks, we doubled it. Now we shared that because there were 2 of us, 2 partners. And then of course it doesn't take into account the expenses, but it was a very good profit for 3 weeks of work. And so I remember going to our accountant. Now, again, I don't know why we needed an accountant for just 3 weeks, but we were trying to do all the things that like, a business person would do. So we must've gotten a referral again from somebody we knew. And that accountant said to me, just looking at this, our books, whatever our books were, probably on a piece of paper. He said, "You made $60,000 in 3 weeks." And I said, "Yeah." And he said something like, "Imagine if you could make that amount the whole year." And so that has never left me, but it was an impression upon me at the time. I do know that, but I don't think I knew what to do with it, or maybe I had imposter syndrome, or maybe I was too scared, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't continue doing essay camps back then and just stay the course, because imagine, right? So I did the math just before coming on this and doing this live. I did the math. And okay, so that was basically 20,000 per week, or 80,000 per month, which would be 960,000 per year. And that was at the $999 price, okay, that we had back then. So I know, again, my mind probably exploded for a hot minute, but I didn't really know what to do with that, which is why I started this episode by saying, if I only knew then what I know now, like, why didn't I just stay the course? Why didn't we continue to grow it and have, 5 weeks in the summer and have 30 students each, or like even just starting there? Because I remember at the time, so, I had a decent salary, I was under the age of 30. This was back in, like I said, 2000, 2003, whatever. but there were always things that I wanted more. I wanted to travel. I wanted to, get a new car. I wanted this, I wanted that. And I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to get my doctorate, and which is eventually basically how I paid for, I didn't take loans out after that. I just paid for my doctoral program and take any more loans out. It just came right out of the business. So when I think back, I think, gosh, why didn't it hit me to keep doing this, using the side hustle at least long enough to where then it replaced my income. And then from there. So all I'm saying is if you have a side hustle, like just keep going and find a way to move to, well, if you want to, if you find a way for it to replace your income and then double your income. And then, if you wanted to leave or keep doing whatever it is that you want, but it's not easy living on an educator's salary alone, right? So anyway, that's my little hot tip. But my point is that back in those first days of essay camp, we had a lot of fun. And so a side hustle, if you continue calling it that, it will always be a side hustle. But a side hustle usually is somewhere, we call it the coolness factor when I work with private clients. So a coolness factor, a coolness project is what I say to students. It's something, it's a cross between something you have to do and something you want to do, right? I have to, as an adult, you have to make money. You have to pay your bills and, whatever. But something I want to do, like what I would love doing more than anything, I would do it even without people having to pay me to do it, was I loved helping kids get into college, and especially the whole essay piece. I really loved doing that. So we learned how to monetize that back then in a way that was mutually beneficial. I mean, we were helping students find focus time in the summer so that they could go back to senior year feeling really ahead of the game and feeling super confident about what they had done. And they just kind of just felt like a badass because they didn't have this like thing hanging over their head. So I just look back and I think that was friggin' genius, what we did back then. And had I only just stayed the course and did then, because I would be, that would be 20 years that would have been building the business. So anyway, I digress. You know what? We are where we are, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it like I did for a little bit. But okay, let me just, if you don't mind, I'm going to just read from the script because I don't want to put myself on no video again, because that's silly. Because you guys, it's all good. We're all family here. So here's the truth. Every student has a great story to tell. The problem is students do not understand that the college essay is not written in the style of an English or research paper. Once I realized that students needed to reframe how they wrote this essay, my then business partner and I founded College Essay Bootcamp, back then called Co-ed College Consultants. But today, College Essay Bootcamp is designed to give students a step-by-step formula of how to take their idea and write essays in just 5 days. The completion of the class helps to reduce family stress while also increasing the chances of success. The summer course is open to all rising juniors and seniors. So I'm excited to announce that the 2024 summer essay camp dates have now been announced, and you can reserve your spot with just a deposit of $500. Early registration will save you 10%. So you can hop on over to drcynthiacolon.com and scroll down to the bottom of that homepage. So everything you need is on the homepage, right? You can also, I think, download a few other little freebies. Or anyway, if you know already like essay camp, you can go just hop on over to drcynthiacolon/essay camp, and it will take you directly to the essay camp page. Okay. Dr. Cynthia Colon. It's spelled DrCynthiaColon, like Nancy. You can also type in Destination University, like this podcast.com. It redirects you, it takes you the same place to that same homepage. So no worries. All right. Okay. So another thing I just want to share with you, if you're thinking and you're listening to this Full Disclosure Fridays, it's really going to be about edupreneurs and entrepreneurship. So it's always going to sort of be a similar theme each week on Fridays. So keep tuning in if you're trying to figure out what your jam is, and whatever. But if you are thinking, hey, I think I'd like to do a little bit of what Cynthia does, Dr. C. And if you have any interest in running your own essay camp, your essay boot camp, I am looking for partners. If you're looking to think, okay, yeah, I can do this, I have some opportunity for you, because you can take the curriculum and take all of the years that I put into developing it, but we're trying to license this curriculum to other folks who just want to take it to other cities, because we would love to see it in other cities. So I know what it's like to live on an educator's salary, and now I just feel like so much more financial freedom now that I'm doing what I do. And so there you go. I wanted to share. I don't share to brag, but I share to give you the hope. So even when I worked at a private school, like, it meant my salary was maybe slightly higher for, even back then, but it wasn't enough, right? But for a long time, I thought it was wrong to like strive to make more money and just have more money, and all these sort of things that come with like wanting more money. But I understood like my why. And so I'm going to share with you. I wanted back then, and I still do, to travel more and go to more sporting events, because that's what I love, sporty spice girl. And more than that, I have this huge goal and desire to give $100,000 away to 6 organizations or schools or colleges of my choice that I love and feel that contributed to making me who I am. So this year, I'm so proud to announce that I have made my first commitment, so my first 100K, to go to Teachers College at Columbia, which is one of my alma maters. So there you go. So my question to you is, what is your why? Do you know what your why is? What is your bigger why, right? It's not just about having the nice car, the nice purses, or whatever you want. It's got to be bigger than that to get you up every day. All right. So if you are looking for someone to sort of be a thought partner with, you can hop on over to my website and just schedule a call for educators. I'd be happy to chat with you and see also if maybe something I have is something that you might be interested in, and we can partner. That would be so fun. I'll be waiting for you. So remember, nobody else is going to bet on you except you. And from where I sit, you are your best bet. So, all right, there you go. All right, you guys, I'm going to put myself here and just read this last part. That's all I have for you today, my friends. Thank you for tuning in to Destination University. I'm Dr. Cynthia Colon, your happy success expert. If this episode has in any way helped fueled, inspired you, please share this episode with 3 people in the next 30 minutes. Thanks for listening this week. You can subscribe to Destination University wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, leave us a review. It sure does help a lot. By subscribing and reviewing, you are helping to grow the community of informed families across the nation. So thank you for joining the movement. And if you haven't binge listened to our previous seasons, I would say do it. If you know of an 8th grader or a high school student, dive in and take in every piece of advice possible. You want to start with episode 1, which is where I interview my mother, Lydia Franco. You are going to love her. So once again, if you found value today, please share this episode with 3 families in the next 30 minutes. I'll be sure to see you next week, same time, same place. Until then, wherever you are, may you have a happy and sunny day. Bye for now. Okay, so this is just fun. This is fun. I've been wanting to do this full disclosure series for a long time. So honestly, if you did find any value in it, please leave a comment, because I'm going to be taking some, inputs for like, what topics to cover, what to do, what do you want to know about? I don't know. It's been a long road for me. I feel like I've taken longer than maybe I should have. And so I'm happy to share with you the things I did right, the things I did not so right, and the things that I'm still sort of struggling with and finding through. This year is my what I'm calling my breakthrough year. That's my one word for the year, breakthrough, because I am determined to sort of get to that $1 million mark. And I know I can do it. And I don't know why I just didn't do it before, because certainly plenty of people need the information and the courses that we offer. And so anyway, so again, I can't emphasize enough of we're looking for school partners, school districts, and of course, if you yourself just want to have a side hustle and think you can start an essay camp in your neighborhood, please just let me know. Give me a jingle, send me an email. You can send me an email at hello@drcynthiacolon.com, or you can obviously just schedule an appointment under school leaders. Okay. All right. That was just an extra little bonus for you. All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for listening this week to Destination University. Be sure to join Dr. Cynthia Colon again and get one step closer to your success.